Hey guys, welcome back to ArtosisCasts. Again, if you are not caught up in SSL, if you don't know who's going to be playing against each other in the round of 4, then turn this off, go watch that, okay, and then come back. So we have Rain down here in the bottom right, going up against Mihu in the top left. Definitely one of my favorite players to cast, to watch, to study. The Chinese Terran. Certainly the strongest Terran competitor outside of Korea. You know, he's having a harder time right now. He used to win every tournament in China. Now Xiao Shui wins every tournament in China. Mihu's still doing well, though, getting second or third place in, like, every tournament. But, yeah, still holding that Terran flag high for us. And we're playing here on Minstrel. You know, the last game that was uploaded the day before this was Rain versus Speed here. And you can see Rain taking a completely different approach. Instead of going for a scoutless fast expansion, he's going to go ahead and gas steal this game. He's not going to be able to because this is going to be a tight wall. Well, actually, he might get up before that. And in fact, if you happen, like, if you try to do this, now this is a 2 building wall in, so it's actually pretty safe. But if, oh, and look, he actually starts it so fast. So fast. So he had that timing down like perfectly. And he'll pop this out as it goes out. That's why the second one's waiting. See, he'll pop. And then Rain's actually doing a really good job getting extra damage on that. But yeah, this is Zealot tight and everything, and the Marines will pop out on the inside. So against something like a Zealot Rush, it's strong. Rain, oh, he is actually just going to go gas and gateway. Okay, because like there's a lot of things that can happen from here. I did see some people talking about, oh, why don't you... I actually saw this incredibly stupid. I check Reddit, like the StarCraft Reddits, like once every 2 months. I saw this incredibly stupid thread about me. Why don't I wall in like I'm an idiot? If you do a wall and your opponent does... Like, they literally went out of style because, first off, if you block the wall and a Zealot's coming, you lose. Okay? Second off, if your opponent decides to put on heavy Dragoon pressure and is already doing the build for that, it is so hard to hold this, and you actually have to end up going siege mode to take your expansion. So it just doesn't work well. It's just not a very good play anymore. You can do it on a 2-player map, though. The metagame is as such. Like, if you have, like, a very good plan, you can still kind of make this work occasionally, but it can't come back into full usage because of the things that I outlined there. The metagame would shift really hard and you'd get wrecked. Now, this is a fake range, and Rain will be expanding pretty quickly. Mihu getting his factory up. I think he's just going to go ahead and take an expansion. His SCV's staying around down here. He's watching for anything like a Zealot coming, and he's playing very much like Flash. Just one Marine. He's going to make that command center as quickly as possible. And also, by the way, the wall-in depots make it harder to rotate units in and out, especially against things like recalls. It really clogs up your entrance. Just totally not worth it nowadays. Much better to just expand with your units near your command center. Okay. Oh my gosh. That is a very quick Citadel of Adun. So we're going to be seeing a DT rush coming up here from Rain. Now, this is something that he utilized against Rush on Kickback in their series. And he did, like... It was interesting, right? Because, like, I remember, you know, I just casted that a little bit ago, and it was basically mines. When you do mine expansions, they get laid very greedily nowadays, right? Vulture expansions into mines used to be like mines in front of your base, and then like maybe one at the third base, something like that. And that was something, if you look up, there are some old translated guides where Flash talks about don't be greedy with your mines, just lay them on a path to your base. Because it stops DT. It just makes DT obsolete. But people have gotten so greedy with mine openers that they'll just do like an arc of mines. And the arc of mines is really good if it's not DT. Really good, because you can actually lay mines from 3 vultures and see if a shuttle leaves the base, see if goons leave the base, right? Block third bases. It can be really amazing. But if your opponent just goes DTs, there's literally not enough mines to kill them. So we'll see. how these get laid. He is going mines, and in fact, he's doing one fast siege tank into Vulture. This has actually gained a little bit of popularity lately. It's kind of like a check to see what your opponent's doing. Now, he's going to be a little bit lucky here and run into the DT. It might not look lucky, but this is incredibly lucky. Okay, he sees it, and he'll start laying mines. So he starts turning around. I actually sometimes think it's a good idea to keep attacking with this to get the DT to turn around. But he has this timed out basically perfectly. And the DT is actually walking around most of the mines. Oh, gets caught. So he really doesn't lose much, and he lays additional mines. So again, this was a little bit lucky. Right? And, you know, obviously those units would kill 2 goons. So the goons would have had to pull back if the DT had, like, gone around or something like that. Or if he hadn't seen it. But this DT coming out would have cleared the push, most likely. But, you know, if there's some mines laid in there, it can get messy. It can get very messy. So, the DT doesn't do anything. Mines are laid all over. eBay on the way. Academy on the way. You definitely, when you see that they have Dark Templars, you definitely want to get both, because you're going to need this to take and expand. You're going to need this just to stay alive. Now, there is a shuttle coming up. So, this is like a very teched out build. He went DT into shuttle with Reaver Tech. And that sometimes catches you off guard. If you try to do just a mine-based defense and a turret at the front, you can just die to a follow-up DT drop. It's happened to all of us. But Mihu, too smart for that. I think everyone nowadays, like, it has happened too many times. So you're like, just assume they're going to come in with something else. The thing is, there's a lot of follow-ups to DT, right? So, like, DT can go into a very fast Arbiter. It can go into Psy Storm drops. It can go into DT drop. It can go into Gateway Man. Like, there are a lot of different options for Protos after that. And if you're Nyokin, in fact, it can even go into carriers. And actually, there's one Protos on the ladder very high up that does that as well. It's a very smart move, actually. So he does do the DT drop, and he's going to get a depot. Most likely. Mihu does not want to lose that depot. You probably want to lay another mine over here. I guess he doesn't have one. But yeah, not maybe worth the micro time there from Rain. Now, Rain throwing down a couple more gateways. Reaver coming out. A funny looking game. From Mihu's side, it does look very Mihu. You can see he's going up to 4 factory. That's like his go-to. He might add a 5th. Oh, there it is. But he's actually like the king of 4 factories. He like always goes 4 factory. You never really see too much other than that. But yeah, I mean, he has the economy. He's adding another one. 41 SCVs against 48 probes. So we do actually have a decent little probe lead right now for Rain. Not end of the world for Mihu, but Rain getting ready to take this 3rd base, rather. Speed for the shuttles is coming. Looks like Rain wants to clear the mines out of the center of the map. Bunch of vultures. That's a rather large vulture group before command center started to be out in the map roaming. But he's safe. He's totally safe in this position. Rain starts walking up, sees the turret, turns around. Here comes that Reaver. Oh, that's kind of a well-placed turret there. Kind of like that. That blocks all here. Wow. That's actually a really well-placed turret. Just steal that one. Wow. Damn, man. That's a big box of protection there. The thing is, you have to make it so that they can't sit the shuttle here, right? And that just barely reaches there. So that's really well-placed. Okay, so Observer coming up to make sure he can take this base. Sends the probe. He is going to take his 3rd. The 3rd is extremely late this game. But of course, this has to do with Rain's opener. You know, he went for a DT rush, into a DT drop, into Reaver plus speed shuttle. So his 3rd base is incredibly, incredibly late, which plays well into what Mihu is doing here. Now, trying to take out that turret, some really good repair. Yeah, he's going to repair right through. In fact, kills the Reaver. Uh-oh. Rain's opener really not looking good here. And the thing is, you can look, you know, I guess we could call it brilliant if the DT rush does something, or you can look just silly when it does absolutely nothing and then all your follow-ups do nothing. And that's what's happened to Rain. Mihu going to start walking across the map. He's got 2 scans there, 2 scans there. So he had, you know, he's going to have 4, and by the time those 4 scans are up, he'll have 2 more. So, like, he's basically... DTs won't do anything against him right now. Even an Arbiter being made right now isn't really going to change anything. So, Rain is rotating around. This is one of the nice things about Minstrel, I guess. If we zoom out, you can see there's so many different paths around that as he's coming down the center for the very strong attack, Rain goes up around, and see, he's keeping an eye on what's going on. He sees him moving forward. He sees this eBay being made right now, since he did lose that one floating over there. The Dragoons ready to cut off reinforcements, pick off tanks that are just sitting there as well. So he is going to be able to do that. This is really good from Rain. He's really not losing too much. He's picking off a fair amount of vultures, and he's just slowing the push. So do you leave tanks sieged here and then try to push the bridge? It's really, really difficult. And in fact, now that Psystorm is going to be out, pushing over the bridge is going to be very difficult indeed. The Reaver's sitting here waiting, trying to get a Scarab shot. Really good Scarab, maybe. Ooh! Really good Scarab. Lots of damage there. Gets an SCV as well. Kills a siege tank. New eBay is done. Does have to watch out for Psystorm on those bridges, though. All right, a good Scarab comes out onto that Vulture. This push from Mihu, by the way, he just started his third command center. It's almost halfway done. So he still doesn't have that third base. It is a 3-base Rain. He has a ton of gateways. He does have Zealot legs now. The bridge area is still, like, he can smash things that come to this side of the bridge. But if you commit too hard, you might get smashed going over the bridge, right? So we have a little bit of a stalemate in this area where they're chipping units off of each other. The Psystorm's going to be very helpful if Mihu moves over the bridge too much all at once. Look at this. He's setting up these siege locations, kind of sieged in a line, a little bit harder to engage. Another observer coming up. Zealots starting to pile out. Definitely going to need a lot of Zealots here. Okay, leads with some Zealots to get a good siege tank Psystorm off there. Loses the other High Templar, though. He gets like one quality Storm. Lot more supply for Rain right now, but Mihu's position is still very scary. Don't forget we have these goons over here. I actually almost did. See if those Dragoons actually move. Like, Rain is fighting with almost just over half his army here. I think he forgot about these. Okay, now he realizes, because like that was half his army. It really feels like there could have been other choices there. So he comes into the center, and he's actually kind of eroding this position a little bit, right? Reinforcements have kind of stopped. Bunch of units up here. Another round of Zealots, and he's going to be able to break this. So if these goons stall him out anymore, he's going to lose everything he has over here. You can see Mihu right now unsieging because he sees the incoming shuttle and knows he can't hold without his reinforcements. So a good pullback here from Mihu. Overall, strategically, it's kind of working here for Rain, and he pushes Mihu way, way back. Mihu's going to have to go to this side and just start mining. But the base he's taking, it is the easiest to take, but the hardest to defend, right? If you bring up anything into this area, even if there's siege tanks here, you can bring up a Zealot, and the tanks will auto-fire on it, and then you just storm the SCVs. He's got Psystorm already. This is going to be a very hard map to hold. Yeah, Mihu taking a more forward position. It looks like he's thinking about attacking here. This will help defend his third at the same time, which is nice. Looks like he might lose a few buildings in there as well. Third add-on, as well as going up to 8 factories. Love to see it. Mihu with some good continuation of this build. A lot of Zealots out here right now. Pretty equal as far as the worker count goes. Now, running up with these Zealots, he hits a lot of mines. A ton of Zealots are going to die. They're not actually going to get much damage, but it does allow the High Templars to get kind of close, and he has the flanking goons from the high ground. So even though that was about as good an engagement as you could ever take as Terran, Mihu really is the king of these engagements. Rain still smashes it. Now, Rain's 4th base is quite late. So I think Mihu actually still has some potential in this game. He has 3 add-ons, which is incredibly important. He does have that +2 attack on the way, +1 armor coming up. But yeah, just the slowness of this base is a good thing for Mihu. Now, rain is pretty high in supply, but if you sit very defensively here, I think you'll be all right, right? Like, you can't really attack over this bridge. You set up a nice defensive area here. He's trying to set some mines back here because he knows how open this is to storms. Of course, you can see coming up right now, rain has storms in mind for sure. So going to drop some zealots out here to maybe tank some hits. Yeah, drops 1 out, forces... You can see, he runs the SCVs away. As soon as there's an approach, it's like, well, I don't want to just die to Psystorm, so let's get out of there. Yeah, he's thinking about it, but there's not enough SCVs right now. He's actually delaying a lot of mining right now. Okay, going to clear some of these vultures and mines. It's a very active defense here, as you can see, right? Like, he's really trying to make it so that you can't Psystorm his SCVs. Now, he brings everything back up. The Observer sees all this. 3 shuttles now. He's going to bomb this. The Zealots are all going to pour out. He's going to drop out. Psystorm here, because this is where the SCVs will run. See, the SCVs run as soon as this stuff comes in. There, yep. Oof. Oof. You know, it's a lot harder for Terran to go down here and expand here, but at least this can't happen. You can see how difficult this position can be. Maybe if you have a bit more map presence or something, but that can be very hard. Now, Rain is on 4 base, right? And he's on a Zealot, High Templar. He's on, like, the speed shuttle meta right now. So it's like a very good way to play, but he needs the 5th base. And just as I say that, 5th Nexus gets started up. This is incredibly important. And this is where I think most Protoss players lose, and going to be one of the keys to Rain playing against Sharp. You can't commit your whole army before 5 base unless you're completely certain of victory. Or you're completely certain of loss if you don't, right? Like, it's 2 sides of the same coin. But, like, just generally speaking, when you're on 4 base, you can't really refill your army and continue to build your economy. On 5 base, you can. Kind of an interesting Wraith there. He's had this Wraith for a bit, so he's just bringing it over to try to help out. Still, you can see that Mihu can barely mine from here. So Mihu right now, oh my god, so juicy. Yeah, not quite getting it, but the ideas are there. But you can see, right, he's out of minerals here in the main. The natural's almost out, and he's barely mining. So, like, some of that early aggression from Mihu is good, but Rain might be teaching him not to take this base. That's definitely a possibility. I wonder if there's a way to, like, have this be your main point of defense. I don't think so. But maybe, because these are, like, smaller areas. So, like, if this was your main point of defense, maybe you can defend these mineral patches and this bridge. And then just kind of have mines in the peripheral to move your army around. But that seems a little bit too far forward. It seems too easily breakable. Now, this is a fun tactic here. Walking around with the Goliaths plus Science Vessel, trying to pick off some observers. The Goon's going to catch him, though. The fun tactic will end. Picks that off anyways. Gonna get a shuttle. So, actually, that was an okay trade. And he gets out with the Science Vessel. Can't complain too much about that one. But Rain's army right now, he is maxed out. And I don't think this will be a full frontal attack, but I think he's going to try to destroy this mineral line once again. Like, he's not going to shove his whole army through there. But he does get the storms. Man, that drill line of SCVs is brutal. And you can see he is just having such a good little engagement here. 115 to 194. Just absolutely dominating this mineral line. Don't think you can defensively take this mineral line against a strong Protoss player. All right, probes being sent down to that 5th. We have a big rotation of this army over to the side. Mihu is trying to take a 4th base down here. Comes around to try to defend this. It's a mostly Dragoon army right now, but it's not that big a Terran army. Okay, he actually catches that shuttle pretty quickly. but some very good Psystorms go off. Rain should be able to just barely clear this if reinforcements don't come, but we actually have even more tanks up there to the north. Going to rotate down with these and try to pick off the defense matrix tank. Does get it before another volley, which is nice. And he is trading pretty efficiently. Look at the supply differential here. Even though Mihu has kind of gotten the base up, you can see that Rain at this point really picking him apart, waiting for that full engage after the 5th Nexus is up, which I think is quite important as well. So Mihu recovers that position. This one's still looking very, very weak. A big army, a lot of High Templars in here. 6 o'clock being taken as well. Looks like Rain rotating over to attack this guy. Yeah, you just absolutely can't hold this. Mihu's kind of dried up at this point. Just Psystorms absolutely everywhere. And yeah, I think we're getting right to the end of this game, honestly. There's just nothing left here for Mihu. He's been on the defensive for, feels like, 8-9 minutes. You know, he had an okay push going over the bridge, but I think that flank of goons into clearing it, really, really good. Denying that additional base. The thing is, I take this base too, but it's tough because like this one is really far away. You know, to be able to defend here, plus here, plus here, plus air here, plus air here. That's a lot, right? Like that's a big area to cover. So it's understandable when Terrans try to take this, but you can see just how difficult that can be. Now coming in with another, I mean, Mihu does not like to leave the game until it is truly over, but it is truly over at this point. Nothing left. He's not mining. This is it. 28 minerals left. Not enough for a vulture. A decent fight put up. But Rain, top 4 ASL player, going to be a bit too strong here for Mihu despite a cool opener. Mihu is the new fantasy, man. The GG timings. Like, seriously. We're at 77 supply of 29 SCVs. You gonna pull this one back? It's not gonna happen. Terran players don't like to leave the game. Fight to the bitter end. All right, Rain is trying to figure out how to actually finish the game. That's a funny thing about this unit composition. It's so good at fighting and harassment and defense. Excuse me, but breaking entrenched positions is not a strength of this army. Absolutely not. Getting ready to take another base. Some Psystorm drops going to come out here. It's going to be hard to get good SCV kills because there's so few. Okay, this is actually getting comically silly. Guys, if you didn't turn the game off yet, thank you. Leave me a comment letting me know that you actually watched Mihu to the bitter end. Because this has to be the bitter end, right? Okay, we were only down 120 supply. I guess it was finally time to GG. Thanks for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed. See you next time.